everyone. This is Dan and Angela with Heart to Heart.
Hi.
And we're interviewing today Sheila Hinzman. And actually, this is more ex-Worldwide Truth Seekers. That's my Facebook page. But Dan and I do these interviews. We call it Heart to Heart. But ex-Worldwide Truth Seekers is a Facebook page I've got, and this is where this is going to be going because we are both, me and Sheila, ex-Worldwide Truth Seekers and out of the Worldwide Church of God, and glad to be as well. So I'm so excited to interview her, Sheila Hinzman. And so Sheila was born and raised in the Worldwide Church of God in the 1980s in the West Detroit area. She attended public school, but after a crazy incident, her mother took things over and began homeschooling her along with her sister and older brother. And the church split in 1994. Her parents went with United Church of God under Ron Wineland and stayed with him. This they still listen to his sermons and keep the Sabbath and the holy days and all of that, along with everybody else is in the United Church of God. Amazingly, Sheila managed to graduate and go to college, earning 2 associate's degrees. She graduated with highest honors as a medical assistant and also graduated with honors from nursing school. She's been a nurse now for 5 years, working for the #1 psychiatric hospital in the world, the top 10 children's hospitals, and she's also earned an invitation to the Magnet Conference. Wow, amazing,
Wow,
Sheila.
Sheila.
And
Yeah, I want to say something there
yeah.
too. Sheila, a lot of people never get on their feet after they come out of a cult. We know so many people that just are on the side of the road. They've moved into being a victim. They've just for you to pull out of that and go to school and get an education. And I mean, I'm really blown away. And I think
I am
that's what
too.
I think that's what this community needs. I think that the people that we talk to, that we associate with, are looking for those role models, people that have transitioned and they're wondering, how did she do it? How did she overcome being angry? How did she overcome being a victim and saying, because we know a lot of people that just go on and on. They did this to me and they ruined my life and they stole my life and my life, I'll never get on my feet. And they just end up, in alcohol and drugs and they never recover. So that would be one thing I would like you to address as you start. But I guess I'd like to say myself, were you like born in? Did your mom have a visit to the door? How did you
Yeah,
guys
that's
even get
her.
connected with Worldwide Church of God?
Yeah, she was born in, remember,
Oh,
but yeah.
yeah. It was a couple of years before I was born. I know that my oldest brother was like a few years old. And I think that my second oldest brother, he was like just a baby or something when my family joined Worldwide. And I honestly don't know what exactly brought my parents into it. I just know that my mom has a lot of anxiety, and her oldest brother, my uncle Jimmy, is one of the people who first introduced her into Worldwide. I haven't spoken to him in several years just because we just fell out of touch. It was nothing personal or anything like that. He lives down in Florida. Uh, so I thought about reaching out to him and asking him how he first got involved. I know that he left um, before I could ever remember, so I don't know exactly what led him to leaving. But I think I'd like to ask him that sometime. But back to the point uh, that you brought up, like what exactly, like how exactly did I um, stop being a victim and everything like that, and stop being angry. And um, I honestly am still quite angry and bitter, to be honest with myself and everybody listening. Um, but I just try not to let that take over. So as you said that I was homeschooled but didn't receive any type of actual credit or education for going from grade school. So I was in first grade when I was taken out of public school, all the way through high school, and missed out on all of those experiences that most kids in this country take for granted. And uh, I was very motivated to get away from my parents, honestly, mostly my mother, because of how controlling she was. And when I finally met my first boyfriend, I was almost 18. and we dated for a little while, and after it was, we broke up for a brief period and got back together. Um, and then I had turned 18 for like 2 or 3 weeks, and I told my mom that I was moving out to move in with him and his parents. Uh, and she freaked out, of course, and she actually got physical with me. Um,
Wow.
she did, I wouldn't say that she was very physically abusive, but I was afraid of her. She did like slap me in the face when I was a kid whenever she thought that I was being disrespectful towards her, but that wasn't frequent, and I did get spanked.
Sure.
Um, but that was like the least of the trauma. Um, and so she was very angry when I told her that I didn't want to go to church anymore and that I was leaving to live with my boyfriend. She hit me several times, and then she called him and screamed at him and told him not to come anywhere near her property.
Mm,
So I waited until everybody was asleep,
mm,
and I think I stayed up all night that night, if I recall.
mhm.
Um,
I
I mean,
bet.
this is literally 20 years ago, so it's kind of hard to remember, but I do remember some details. So we lived on a dead end street with only one other house. And that night, my older brother's friend had stayed the night. So I went into his room and used his phone to call my boyfriend and tell him to pick me up across the street. And I had my bag already packed, and I hid behind a bush at a Popeye's chicken. Uh, oh wait, no, I think it might have still been a Tim Hortons at the time. I forget, but it's this fast food restaurant in Michigan, and um, I just remember being terrified. It was Saturday, and I knew that they were going to wake up at any moment to start getting ready for church services. So I thought that they were going to come over and drag me back to the house and keep me prisoner there, essentially. Um, so I managed to get away, and my dad did come over to my boyfriend's house and try to convince me to come back, and I said no, I'm not coming back. I don't want to live under your roof or your rules anymore. And uh, I ended up getting pregnant, and I was, at 18 years old, and um, my boyfriend was just a kid at the time. I was still just a kid, no worldly experience, no education whatsoever. So I knew that I wasn't going to be able to support myself and a baby, and I knew that my boyfriend wasn't going to be able to support us either. So my mother convinced me to come home,
Oh
and
God. Oh. Oh my God.
she she told me that I didn't have to come back to church if I didn't want to. That wasn't a requirement, but I was not, and I didn't have to break up with my boyfriend. She said that we would not be allowed to have um, an adult relationship unless we were married, even though I was already pregnant. Uh, that was one of the stipulations, and I was okay with that. Uh, and but this is how much of a hypocrite my mother is. My oldest brother, Kenny, he had his girlfriend living in my mom's house.
What?
She treated my sister and I way differently than she treated my brothers. They got away with all kinds of stuff. It was different rules for boys
Oh
and
my
girls.
Wow.
Um, and he did have a son. He or has a son rather. He is an adult now. But I was 15 when my oldest nephew was born. Um, and anyways, back to my story. She convinced me to
I
come home. She told me,
was,
huh?
I was just gonna go ahead and finish that, but where I want to go with it after you're done with that is I want to go to like how did you manage to get your diploma and go? So anyway, after you're done with this, go there.
That's what I
Okay.
was getting
Oh,
to
good.
next.
Yay.
So she told me that if I came home, that she would help me get my GED or diploma, and then help me go to either college or a trade school to learn a skill and to get a career. Um, and she was actually the first person to suggest being a nurse. That was something that I didn't think that I was capable of doing because um, confidence and all that. It wasn't something that was taught in the church or my family. Um, so uh, I came home, and not long after, she told me that she would not be watching my son while I went to GED classes because she didn't want me hooking up with the wrong people. And what she actually meant was living in the Detroit area. She was specifically talking about Black people. She did not want me making friends of any other ethnicity.
Well,
And
getting
Okay,
switching.
that's okay.
Go ahead.
so I knew that if I didn't take matters into my own hands, that I was going to end up stuck there with no job, no money, no car, no license, and just being miserable for the rest of my life. So what I did was I went online and I found a homeschooling program called American School. It was a correspondence course, so it's completely through the mail at the time. They have online classes now, but um, it was still through the mail at this time, early 2000s. And it was just under $1,000 for all 4 years of high school, which is what I needed.
Oh, that's pretty good.
If you already had, yeah, if you already had credits, then it was less money, but I didn't have any credits. Um, so it was fully accredited, so I was able to stay on my parents' insurance until I think I was like 21 or something, 22, forget what it was.
Mhm.
Um, I know Obama increased that to like 26 when with the Affordable Care Act. But so I did that, and I got my high school diploma in 2010, early 2010. Um, and then I didn't go to college until 2013. So my parents, my dad was a construction laborer, and they lost their house um, to foreclosure because he got laid off in 2006, and I think he worked one job one time after that, and then never got called back to work. His health was very poor. He didn't really have any other skills or education to fall back on either. That was one of my motivating factors of getting my education is because I wanted a career that I knew would always be there. Like I'm never gonna not be able to find a job in and that pays fairly well. Because I do not have the type of personality to be like in marketing or anything like that. Um, I'm an artist, but I'm not talented enough to like make money off of that either. Um, but what was it with this? Um, we were talking about education and everything. So my parents lost their house, and oh, this is the next part of my story. Um, I was basically labor trafficked by my own family. I did not want to leave Michigan. All my friends were there, my family was there, uh, but my sister had married someone from the church. She had just turned 18, and she married a much older man and moved to Pennsylvania with him and started a family. So when my parents' house was in foreclosure, uh, they uh, they had been making plans to move down to live on my sister's farm.
Mm,
Because at that time we were being taught that the world was going to end in
mm,
2012.
mm.
Um, that was going to be the start of the 3.5 years of tribulation. Um, so the plan was that we were all gonna bunker down on my sister's farm and be one big happy family, and that didn't happen.
Take care of
My
it.
mom didn't want to go to my sister's farm.
Wow.
She was very resentful towards my sister because she felt like she basically got the life that my mom always wanted. Um, she even admitted that she was jealous of her because my mom just wanted to be out in the country on a farm away from everybody and isolate, which she eventually did get her wish. That's why she's down in Tennessee, but I digress. Um, so I didn't want to go. I was talking to a friend of mine uh, about how I could possibly stay in Michigan with my son, and um, he was helping me. He told me that I could live at his mom's until he got back, and that uh, it was like this really nice gated community, and they had like a pool and everything. And until I got on my feet and I could, apply for housing and stuff like that. Um, and that there were people in the neighborhood, like this older lady that could watch him while I went to classes or work. Um, so I was doing research trying to figure things out like that, and my brother found out.
Mm.
So he told my mother,
Mm.
and when I got home, she attacked me while I was in the shower.
Oh,
So that was twice that she physically assaulted me, um, because I was going against her wishes.
geez, I think she
And
in the shower when you're, vulnerable, naked.
Was it kind of like, who do
yeah,
you think you are kind
Oh,
of attitude?
geez, Louise.
yeah, like how dare you defy me when she didn't even want to go down there. But it was because I was planning on breaking away from her again. Um, and at that time, didn't intend on leaving the church, but um, I feel like I should have seen the signs and seen that it was not a healthy environment, because nobody ever helped me. The whole entire church knew that my parents had taken us out of school and denied us an education, and nobody did anything. Nobody reported them, nothing. Nobody tried to help us find anything like the program that I had found, and uh, they just left us to rot, basically. Left us to our own devices, didn't interfere whatsoever.
Did your mom stand out in your estimation from other women in the church somehow? Or, I mean, why do you think they would just not defend you guys? What is there anything?
Because I think there's just this sense that people shouldn't get involved because it's not their business, kind of thing. As long as you're not doing anything against what the Bible says, everything's hunky dory.
Yeah.
They can just ignore it, turn a blind eye. I remember when I was 12, and trigger warning because of suicidal ideation mentioned. I was extremely lonely and depressed, and I had thoughts of suicide. Um, I had I would remember standing in the kitchen of my old house and holding my mother's bread knife, and it was a very long, wicked-looking serrated blade. It was very sharp, and I was thinking about ending my life with that. And I told somebody at church, and either she didn't take me seriously, or she did tell somebody, but nobody did anything.
Hmm.
My God.
I never got any help.
Oh my God.
Um,
Wow. It's
Man.
weird, in the church, a lot of the mothers, like, Angela's mother, they want to live in the country and they want it to have chickens and lambs and have all the family live out there. And they're hell bent on all the family being together out there on this little plantation or whatever they
Yes,
create. And
right.
she's living there
like
too.
a compound almost.
Right.
Yeah, it's a
Right. It
compound.
is. It is.
And I'm sitting there, as a person who's not in worldwide, I just like, why would we want to live on our mother-in-law's compound and all working together, making chicken houses and painting up buildings? And it's like when I should be able to live my life the way I want to live it. It's strange.
Yep,
It's strange. It's really, and
it
like
is strange.
super controlling and all of that. I mean, to this day, she lives there. And Dan and I met in '04. And so, right in line with what you said in 2012, they were saying that, we need to be ready for the end. Well, that's about the time she was heavy duty into that, wanting us all to be prepared to move down there. She thinks she's going to save the whole family because I've got five brothers and sisters and then step ones too. But she envisioned that we're all going to come running to her when times got really weird and we're starting the,
Mm.
like you said, the 3 years of tribulation. And so she's bound and determined that we're all coming there. And and to what we had to live in, Sheila, was absurd.
Mhm.
What we would have to sleep in, OMG. Do you know?
Mm.
I don't know what she was
Yeah.
thinking, but it was a compound. Absolutely is a compound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you, Sheila, what do you what do you think you're most mad at with regard to the religion? Is it that you didn't get the life, the child life that you wanted, a normal child life? That was it you missed your holidays, or was it something else? Abuse in the religion, other types of abuse? What was it that you kind of reflect on now and you say, I'm really pissed off? What do you think that is?
I think the biggest thing that angers me is that I was denied an education. It's like the most basic right that every child born here has. And I feel like I was robbed of my childhood because of it. It's I could live without going to school dances or football games, but my education is my freedom.
Got
Yes.
that right.
Yeah, I just want to ask you a question for somebody out there that wants to get an education. What advice
Ooh,
would you
good
give them?
idea.
Because so many people, I know a lot of people that went and got their education, and then this may not apply to you, but they're hundreds of thousand in debt, 80, 100,000 in debt. Is there a way, or did you find a way to do it a little bit cheaper and get the same results? Like you got
Yes,
two, I
you
think,
did.
associate's degree. I'm curious because I know a lot of people want to hear that because even in my religion, 90% religion was using the world to the full.
Right. I
The
was going
world
to
was
say
going
that.
to end, and we couldn't use religion, or I'm sorry,
Education.
education because it was using Satan's world to the full.
Yes.
And so I just going to ask you, do you have some things you could maybe share with people on how they could do this a little cheaper, and
Including your GED. Like, how does
yeah,
that look like?
yeah, whatever you could share would be helpful.
Well, I'd say learn from my mistakes because like I said, I was denied a lot of experiences, but mostly I was denied opportunity. So when you go through high school, even public school, there you can make use of the guidance counselor. They know about scholarships that are available to you. Um, and if you well, I did get awarded some scholarships, but unfortunately by that time I was a mother to two more small children, and then when I was in nursing school, three small children. So I needed that money to like live on to pay rent, gas, food, and all that stuff, utilities. Um, so uh, talking to the financial aid department, asking what scholarships are available, and you don't have to pay back grants if you complete your degree. But if you don't complete your degree, then you do have to pay those back. Um, but scholarships you don't have to pay back regardless, as
Where would
far
they
as I'm
get?
aware.
Where would they go then? Are you just saying that once they get through or getting close to getting out of high school, just be sure and go to the guidance counselor and then try to get those grants?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a lot of paperwork,
Honestly, I
right?
think, yeah. Well, grants, there's like state grants, and then I think there's like a federal student aid grant. Um, this is so silly, but so because I got my high school diploma through a correspondence course, the school is based in Illinois. So my high school diploma is from the state of Illinois. So now that I live in Pennsylvania, I don't qualify for the state grant money because I didn't graduate here. So in order to be qualified for the state grant money, I would have to get my GED in the state of Pennsylvania.
I
But
got
that's like over $2,000 like per year that I missed out on. So I do have a lot of student loan debt. Um, I did not make the best decisions in my career either because like I've been a nurse for 5 years. So I graduated before COVID hit. I mean, I was blindsided by that. And it was just the first year that I had left the church. So of course I was scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, they were right. So it was really hard for me to like still stay out of like not going back to that. Um, but anyways, I went into psych, and all of my other friends that I graduated with went into medical surgical nursing. So they got to do travel after their first year of experience, and now they have houses and boats and RVs and go on cruises, and I'm struggling to make ends meet still.
Gotcha.
So I'm not the most successful example.
but you're
So
pretty
just
dang
learn from
successful.
my failures.
but you're
Well,
taking care of yourself, and that's kind of cool, you know?
yeah.
Did you end up back in
Yeah.
Detroit, or did
She
you end
had
up
Pennsylvania now. I
Pennsylvania
forgot
still?
to put that on
Yeah,
there.
are you gonna try to get back to Michigan?
Not at this time. I don't have any plans to go back to Michigan, because the life that I've built for myself is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Um,
Gotcha.
at some point in the future, hopefully the nearer future, I would like to move out of the country. I'm not entirely sure where, but uh, without getting it's stirring their hornet's nest too much, because I know things are quite heated, especially after yesterday's events
Mm.
um at the rally in Butler. I just don't like the direction that this country is going, whether no matter which candidate wins, I feel like everybody loses, and that's
Yeah.
pretty much my opinion on things. So uh but back to what we were discussing before. So uh after I graduated from high school, and I took a break for like a few years. I got married. I had another son, and then I went to college the first time in 2013 after my third son was born. And excuse me, pardon me. So after my third son was born was when I went to college the first time, because I was tired of living on minimum wage and I wanted better for my kids. And oh yes, so this is, I guess, some a little bit more advice I have for anybody wanting to go to college. Um, Check out AmeriCorps, because they offer stipends, so money to like live on for volunteering. And you, in addition to like your living stipend, they also offer an additional stipend to help pay for past or present student loans. So you can reduce some of your debt that way. Um, and going to a community college where the courses are cheaper to get some of your general education classes is another good idea, because you're not paying like, Ivy League prices for general education classes that you can get anywhere. And taking VOTEC courses in high school can also help a lot. VOTEC's way cheaper too. And trades are still very valued. Electricians, anything automotive, and I see a lot of like CNC operator positions in the area, and they pay fairly well. Um, when you first get out of school and don't have much experience, you're not going to get paid as much, of course, but like as you start building your, resume, it'll go up. It'll pay out. Um, I had to go to college for my degree. I mean, I could have gone for LPN, but I have plans to eventually become a nurse practitioner. So that would require my master's in nursing. Um,
You know
but
those places where you go and you call when you're having something going wrong online, and then that nurse helps you, or doctor.
oh yeah,
Can you do that online? Is that a good job these days, or
I
online?
don't honestly, I don't really know about too much about like the work from home positions for nursing. I tried to look into it, but it's kind of hard because some of them require some office time. They're not completely work from home anymore. So if it's not near you, then it's kind of a waste, because you'd have to like, if you have to go into the office 2 or 3 days a week, and it's, you know,
Mm,
2, 3 states away, that doesn't really work.
yeah, right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places.
You
But
know, hey, Sheila, I'm just curious, is that an earbud, or what is that in your ear?
yeah, it's an earbud. It's slipping out. I need to clean it or something.
It's not for hearing, so you can hear better, right?
No, it's just so, well, I mean, I can hear the audio
With your
better
eyes. Okay, I
with
got you.
my earbuds
Yeah.
than
The
the
reason why I was
speaker on the phone.
in my family, everybody got ear infections and all kinds of things. And almost everybody in my whole family has bad ears
Hearing
and they can't
damage.
hear, hearing damage from not taking care of their ears.
Going to the doctor.
No doctors, right?
Mhm.
Right. That's when I was growing
Well,
up.
my family did go to the doctor when we needed to,
Huh?
and that's another, I guess, an interesting story. So I did have a lot of ear infections when I was a baby and in my toddler years. So I do have scarring in my ears from that. Um, and I did have tubes in my ears a couple of times as a kid and once as an adult. Excuse me. I'm trying not to belch. But I do have more hearing damage in my right ear because my older brother Adam, he hit me in this ear with a water balloon when
Oh,
I was 15.
ah,
So I think it ruptured my eardrum, and I'm just like
wow.
starting to notice now that I'm pushing 40 that I don't hear so well out of that ear.
Interesting.
Um,
Wow.
Wow.
but
Yeah.
so
And now, what about that incident when you were in school and that whole incident about your mom finding out about that craft you made? Did you want to tell that story?
yeah, so the whole reason that I got pulled out of school in first grade was um my first grade teacher was a bully to me. My oldest brother, Kenny, he was a bit of a troublemaker, but looking back, I believe that he had undiagnosed ADHD. Um, and so she, you know, she basically took it out on me, how he acted out in class for her when she was in when he was in her class. Um, and she resented that uh, she had to provide me with alternative projects to do during the holiday seasons, like Christmas
Wait,
and
May.
Easter.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, so it was Christmas time, and she made me do the Santa Claus craft with everybody else. And as I said, I'm an artist, so I put some effort into it. It wasn't because it was like my masterpiece, but I if if I had to do it, I was gonna make it look nice. And especially since this teacher didn't particularly like me, so I thought that if I did a bad job, that she would be angry and take it out on me. She made me feel horrible enough as it is. She criticized my handwriting to the point where to this day I still have a complex about it. I think my handwriting is atrocious, but everybody else tells me otherwise. Um, I hid my writing assignment in my desk for a week before I got caught and got in trouble for that. Um, but she made me do this Santa Claus craft with like the cotton balls for the beard and all that. And I didn't want to take it home because I didn't want my mom to see it and get mad at me. So I had my neighbor Stephanie take it home, and I just assumed that she would probably throw it away. I didn't want it. I didn't care about it. Um, and eventually she was, probably told by her parents to clean her messy room, and she gave it back to me, and I don't know what to do with this. I don't want it. So I'm like, I can't put it in the trash. My parents will see it and then I'll get yelled at. So I hid it in my drawer, and my mom eventually found it and asked me about it. And I told her, I said, I didn't want to make it, but my teacher made me. And um, so for that reason, she pulled us all out of school. At least I'm assuming. She didn't tell me that, okay, well, that's it. I'm taking you out of school. Didn't say anything. It was just like, I think it was like the following week or something like that. I don't remember. It's been so long, but she's just like, I don't have to go to school anymore. I'm like, okay, cool. Because I didn't have to deal with that nasty teacher anymore. Um, but if you ask her, she'll tell you that we fought her too much about our homework, and that's why we didn't earn an education.
It's
Uh,
crazy. It's just crazy. It's just like
Wow.
yeah.
been a weird manipulation line like I see in my mom and my family. It's like instead of just being honest and saying, I was really upset that that teacher disrespected my our belief system and encouraged my daughter to do this, and I'm so mad about it that I just took them out of school, and that was my choice. And they didn't have the best education because I wasn't the best teacher. But no, she's not going to say that. It's going to somehow be a completely different, twisted. It's always twisted. I don't know what it is. It's
It
like
is.
every thought is twisted. And I remember, just to let you know, I don't know if you can relate to this or not, but it doesn't matter what idea that I had, it seemed like it was wrong. Like if I would say that, I don't know, I'm just going to make it up, okay, because I don't want to say the names, but let's just say that I said that I think Aunt Janie is one way or another not good, okay? Well, then my mom's going to say, Angela, don't ever say that about, Aunt Janie ever again. That's just not true. That's just not right. So completely like over and over and over again, whatever I thought was wrong, it's always wrong somehow. So that I didn't trust myself anymore. It's always, and then she would start accusing me that it was twisted or that I make things up or, all these kind of things when I'm just being
You're
honest.
remembering it wrong.
Right. That's right.
Wow.
You're
Jeez.
remembering it wrong. And I'm telling you what, she's so effed with my brain that I don't even know how I'm any sane today, except for that Dan started validating me when I started dating him. And that was when I was 45 years old. And he said, Angela, yeah, no, you see that right. I'm like, I do. And he goes, oh yeah, you're clear. You're very clear. And you're right on the money. That's exactly what's going on here. Yeah, really? And he did this so much. I'm like, oh my God, my mother has been a a liar. Oh my God, she's been lying. And I was shocked. I was mad. I was very mad because I believed her like she couldn't do no wrong.
Found out that recently about her dad too.
Yeah, very bad
Lying,
lying. Very bad. Both worldwide. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So yeah, no, that was great. That was great input, and I do relate, and I completely agree with that. My family does that a lot, especially my mother. She'll say like you're not remembering that right, or that's not how it
Yeah,
happened,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
um,
How twisted.
but yeah, it is. It's very twisted. It's the same that, but they'll accuse everyone else of twisting the truth.
Uh-huh.
They don't twist the truth. It's just
Uh-uh.
everybody else.
Uh-huh. You
Um,
got it. You got it. Named it right on.
Did you have to
yeah.
fight with that, or did you get your own self-esteem through your education, or did you have to work back to get your own mind back again?
Uh, I think that one of the things that helped me to see how wrong the church was getting my education, being around other people that were different from me, who had different perspectives, and um, I could see that the church was wrong. Like, being taught that the world is evil and you shouldn't want to be like them and everything else, and just seeing that they're just normal people. They all have hopes and dreams and aspirations, and uh, you
And
know,
goodness. You have goodness,
yeah.
you know.
But we're taught that the only thing that is good comes from God, and but He made us, so I just don't understand how we could be so bad if He's the one that made us.
Right. It doesn't make sense. It's like, in
It
fact, he
doesn't.
said that what he made was good and very good, and that we're the apple of
Yeah,
his eye. I mean, how clear?
saw that it was good.
Right. So what happened? It's
Right.
like, hello.
Yeah, what happened?
You
Where along the way? Like, oh, it's because we were tempted by the apple and the snake and all that.
Right.
That's what it
Right.
is. Uh,
I think
but
I shared with you earlier how I absolutely believe that we live more than one life and that we're here to learn lessons. Is that what you believe too? We're here to learn certain things we came
yeah,
to learn.
yeah. I just sometimes I feel like the plan that I had, for my life on Earth, got derailed by being stuck in a cult for most of my life. But maybe that was the lesson I was supposed to learn. I
Yeah.
just hope the next time around I'm not part of anything like that.
No
Also,
kidding.
Peace.
I think in a way I feel like that part of the whole thing I've learned anyway so far is that I'll still survive being absolutely rejected by most everyone. And then could I still keep the, I don't know, the love in my heart and not have it completely stolen from me? It's easy to turn bitter, and it's not that I didn't go through anger and all of that, but to rise above it and still
Yeah.
love people anyway, and then find a way to love yourself in spite of what everybody else thinks you're a piece of shit. And it's like, well, you know what? I'm not, and it's fine if you want to think that way, but if that's not the truth, and I don't know, and build my own self up now because I go around saying the I ams a lot, and it's helping me because I say it with all gusto too, and it's changing me. So it's like I'm reprogramming, deprogramming, reprogramming, and it is kind of getting fun, and I'm liking it a whole lot. And I don't know, I don't know if I'll ever have friends, Sheila. I don't know. I got Dan, and I'm so grateful to have one friend in the world. And other than that, who knows? I mean, I'm an odd duck. I don't know that I'll ever fit in, and maybe that's completely fine. Whatever, right? Whatever. I'm starting to get more okay with that because the more time goes on, the more people are rejecting me. And it's really interesting. But I don't know. I'm starting to just get where I'm okay in my own skin, and I'm starting to really get it down that there's nothing wrong with me. Nothing.
That's right.
And it feels
You're
really,
absolutely right.
yeah. Anyway, I'm glad I went through this experience because when I got out of Worldwide, I was so I thought I had the truth and nobody else did. Well, I shouldn't say when I got out, when I was in, that I'm special, it's the cult special, right?
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I'm not self-righteous like that anymore. I'm so glad. I mean, that took time to undo that self-righteous attitude. And and I don't know. I remember when I went to public school and I got away from from Pasadena, California, because I lived there and I went to the church school there, not college, but elementary school up into through seventh grade. But the whole attitude is special. When I went into the public schools, it was a shock. It was a bit of a shock, but I realized that you're like you said, they were normal people and they were not bad people either. And that was kind of interesting, Why was I so afraid? But I didn't associate, but I noticed that there's plenty enough good people. But trying to get away from that we're so special was not an easy task. And I don't know, it just took a lot of humbling experiences before I finally began to realize that um my shit stinks too, and that I like everybody else in this world. I am not any different, and I'm not any better than anyone anywhere. And I really had to come to grips with that, even to the point of like realizing that people in other religions and all of that are not any lesser than me in any way, shape, or form. We all have our dark shadow side, and
Yeah.
so we do. So we all have to see that there's also the beautiful side of everybody. And we got to come to grips with that and try to see the beauty in the person behind the mask or the darkness or the what's coming forth at the moment that's not so pretty. And that's everybody, no matter what. That's how I feel anyway. And trying to get to that point and really mean it for every single person has been a challenge and interesting and now fun. Now fun, huh?
Yes.
It's getting to be fun. Yeah, actually. So I like your hair. It's really cute that way. Really darling. I
Thank
like your
I
shape.
just have it flipped up.
Yeah, it's so
Huh?
darling. And I love your shape of your face. It's very, very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Thank
And your
you.
smile is really beautiful too. So anyway, I know we haven't talked about everything. Is there anything else you want to go and talk about that you want to share with us and help the world to be a better place? I don't know. Something that comes to mind?
Um, well, I guess the last thing I want to share is that don't let other people put limitations on you because they're wrong. My When I first moved back to my parents, for some reason, even though I was almost 19, my mom took me to the pediatrician one last time. I was like 8 months pregnant. And uh I remember him giving me this lecture about how uh I was never going to graduate high school, that I was never going to go to college, and before my son was 2, that I was going to be pregnant with my next kid. And he said, it's just statistics. And I proved him wrong. I
Yes,
just decided in that moment then and there that I did not want to be a statistic. I
I
was not gonna be just another number on a spreadsheet. That I am, I mean, I know the church teaches us that we have a special calling and stuff like that, but I feel like becoming a nurse was a much higher calling than being in a cult.
amen to that.
That's
That's for
right.
sure.
That's
God, I
exactly
can't
right.
like what a jerk for him to say that. I would be incensed. I would be just like you exactly. Because I remember when I was in a second cult with my ex. He was the leader of it, and so he came to the house with his best friend. She'd always said that he's my best friend, and why won't you let me talk to my best friend when he was having all these massive heart troubles and everything. But the true heart troubles was because he was having an affair with her, and it was making him
Oh,
sick. So I'm living alone in this house, and where it was a fix and flip property, and I was feeling very alone because he's moved in with her and saying that it's because of my bad energy and that I'm killing him, and so he has to live with her. But they're not having sex or anything. He's just has to wait until I can get my shit together, right? And so they came over to my house and where I was, and I'm like, you guys, man, I'm so lonely and everything. And so she says to me, well, Angela, it's time for you to go down and get on the light rail and go downtown Denver by yourself, like I used to have to do, and see what that's like. And Angela, I suggest that you go to the movies by yourself, which is what I had to do, just, because you guys, you wouldn't let me, whatever, because my ex's heart was bothering him. And she was just so mean. She went on like this, saying that do this by yourself, do that by yourself, see how you like it. It's my turn now, she said. And so she was stealing him, really. And anyway, I just remember when that happened, that's what got me so pissed. I'm like, oh my God. And my ex, he just looks at me like, like I don't know what to say.
I don't know
He
what's
he
going
didn't
on.
defend me. And here I'm PTSD. I have no breaths. I'm dying. It's obvious I'm dying. I'm going down. I'm going down. I maybe had a year left to live at that point, and they didn't care. Just good, go die, you know? And I'm like, oh my God. So at home in my another house I had in the mountains, because this was a fix and flip I'm living in at the time. My house in the mountains. I'm alone up there in the mountains. And I remember just thinking, if anybody stepped on me, I'm like a bug in a rug. They won't even know. They just will step on me and I'll cease to exist. I'm just that small. I'm a nobody. I'm dying. I'm not gonna make, God hates me, and I'm gonna be in hell, fire. And I'm just sweating it bad. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, something inside of me just cries out from the depth of my soul and says, no, I want to live. And I thought, whoa, whoa, what was that? All I could say was, I felt like it was my soul. And so I'm like, something just, I don't know what it was. It was like I must have been given some strength that I didn't know that I was given. But somehow I started to begin to want to, no, well, I wouldn't say want to live. I began to try to live, put it that way. And I started to make these changes in my life to start getting my brain working again. And I
yeah,
went and I got a job. That was another thing I was being told. Don't go down like this. Get a job, get a job. Don't go down like, and I kept saying, all right, God, if that's you, guess what? I can't. Hello, I'm mentally ill. No clothes fit me. I can't function right. I can't even drive without feeling like I'm going to kill people because my brain's so messed up. Are you kidding? But he wouldn't, this, whatever it was, would not stop saying, get a job. So I'm like, oh, okay, fine. Call my sister. And I said, I need some clothes. So she fitted me with some clothes. And lo and behold, I was able to fake it enough to seem sane enough to get a job. I couldn't believe it. And anyway, long story told, I joined the choirs. I learned how to set up my own computer. I took classes in my work so that I could get higher grade pay by training. I made my brain work because I was so mad at this woman who stole my husband, who would try to say, die, bitch, basically. And that's what she was saying.
yeah,
Die. And they didn't care. Nobody cared. And I realized nobody cares. Oh my God. I remember in the mountains, I was thinking just before that voice came and said, or my soul said, no, I want to live. I thought to myself, oh shit, I forgot what I was going to say that I thought. What did I think? That, no, I just lost train of thought. This is like PTSD a moment, like it's stressful. This is
Yeah.
all this crap from the past. But,
You wanted to get that job. You were determined to push through, you know?
yeah, I forgot what I was going to say, that the thought that came to me out there. But anyway, I did make it. And, I met Dan right at the perfect moment. Cause I remember when I was, crying out to God finally. And I'm like, God, I know you hate me, but I'm not going to make it. And if you don't help me, I won't. And so I just said, and besides, I believe it says it in the Bible that you would put the will and the action into me, and I can't do it. You can see that I've been trying, and I cannot do what these people are telling me that I need to do to make you happy. And so I don't know what I'm doing. I'm toast. So please, please help me. I'm not going to make it if you don't. And so boom, within hours, I meet these people. And the next thing you know, I'm finding out, oh my God, I'm in a cult, and that my husband's having an affair and all of this. And I started checking on it. And you know what? My brother had been trying to warn me, my neighbors trying to warn me, different people. And I'm like, no, you guys, no, no, that's not what's going on at all. I couldn't see the forest from the trees because this woman had always been in our lives since she was a little girl. And they were always friends with us. So I didn't suspect that anything was going on. I couldn't go there. I couldn't even imagine it because she was my friend too. But it was true. And so I met Dan. I got help. I found out the truth. And right, boom, I met Dan. And it was crazy because my mom, she had one of these crazy moments where she had just said, yeah, come and live with me. Yeah, yes, thank God you discovered you're in another cult. And I'm going to take care of you now. Come to live with me. I'll take care of you. I'll get you better. And so I do. But, she's intent on getting me back in the Worldwide Church of God, intent on it. And she tells Dan to go bye-bye. Please leave my daughter alone. I want her to keep the Sabbath and the holy days. Please do not come around here. My daughter is sick. She's messed up. Well, I wasn't so messed up. I could still do my bank account. I can drive. I've got a job now. I'm making good money now. And she's just like trying to get rid of my husband.
Want to be gone.
So I want her to meet him. So I have him come to the Black Eyed Pea on my break from my lunch break from work. I go down to the Black Eyed Pea. My mom shows up with her husband. And anyway, my mom tries to get me to say I'm sorry to my sister for getting out of that cult. And I'm like, wait, I thought you were on my side. You know that I was in a cult. What are you talking? And all of a sudden, Dan stands up in the Black Eyed Pea with all these people around, and he goes, "Fuck no, she's not going to say that. She's not going to do that." I'm like, yes. Well, first of all, we don't say fuck word. We don't say fuck word anywhere. And we don't say those in the church. We don't say any words. So my mom's face turns white and she's madder than hell. She's super mad. And so I'm like, yes, yes, yes. Somebody defended me.
She was so beaten down. I didn't think she could take another lashing.
I couldn't. But
Yeah.
automatic. But God knew that. So he brought me this strong male, alpha male to stand up to my bully mom who's controlling and mean. And so anyway, I got out, and thanks be to God that I had Dan to stand up for me like a great warrior and defend me because I wasn't going to make it. I mean, yeah, I'm out now, but I'm weak, real weak. But Dan was there, and I didn't think I was ever going to get married again. I'm like 24 years married to my ex, and I'm like, no, I'm not getting married ever again. I'm done. And then boom, I meet him at my work. So I couldn't believe it. And anyway, that's what he said. And I was like, man, God, I couldn't even believe that I was so elated that he said that in the Black Eyed Pea. And all the people were like, what's going on? But I didn't care. So then Dan says, Angela, let's go. I'm like, yes, let's go. So I think we left right away. So anyway, it was pretty cool. It's the beginning of my freedom, because I realized that I had some value. Somebody thought I was valuable. Somebody thought I wasn't crazy. Somebody started telling me that I'm not crazy, that I see right, I see straight. Like, what? Really? Are you serious? Anyway, it's kind of cool. Now, I didn't mean to rant right. This is your time, but
No, that's a beautiful story, and I'm really happy for you that you were not only able to escape from that unhealthy relationship and that cult, but also to find love again and happiness, because I mean that's all of us, any of us that leave the cult or any cult for that matter, that's all we want. We just want peace.
Yeah, it's really strange because
You're right.
When you're in the cult, you're operating pretty smoothly. You know the language, everybody gets along, you're all tribal, you all talk the same language, you're waiting for the end. And then when you come out in the world, it seems so strange. You know, you don't really fit in. I didn't fit in when I went into clubs.
Yeah.
I used to be like, who are all these strange women? And they seem so empowered and smart and educated. And I was like, man, I'm a dummy. I gotta, I thought the world was gonna end in 75. And so
And he didn't care about his education either.
yeah, it was a weird world. It was like now you don't fit in out here. You don't know how to relate. You don't know nothing about politics. We were neutral to politics. We couldn't vote. So we didn't know anything about politics. I didn't know what the left, what the right was, conservative,
Yeah.
Republican. It was like it's a freak show. And so it's a lot of learning when you get out. And then when you get out, you're pretty awake. Then you kind of know what you like and what you don't like, and I wouldn't be with that because they're this, and it's a tough life, you
Yeah,
know.
Dan, he didn't he thought the world's going to end, right? So
Mhm.
he just went to school, and the teacher said, "Look, Dan, if you'll just show up, I'll pass you." So Dan just showed up, and he said, "Just put your head down, don't cause me any trouble in my classroom, and just be quiet, and I will pass you." So he managed to get through high school with a D minus average of grade, or that was his final
Mhm.
grade. And then he barely knew how to read. Can you imagine?
And you know something too, Sheila, I was kind of like you. I used to run long runs, like marathons, like
Mm.
26.2 miles. And we were running down around Fort Collins, which is a small college town, beautiful college town. And I used to cry when I went by the dorms because I thought my religion stole that from me. God knows what I'd have did if I'd have got an education. You know what I mean? I wasn't a stupid kid. I'm a marketer. I'm a business guy. And here I am, 65 years old, and not at that time, but I left when I was 40. And so, man, I really was like, oh my God, but it was really sad just to see people getting an education and being excited and being on their own and learning. And I just like, wow, man, religion stole that from me and didn't even care. I was just a throwaway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is the I wish that I could talk to any of the people who were ministers in the church and just talk to them today and see where they're at. But most of the people who were in they were at the top of the totem pole in the organization. They, they went off to start their own organizations after Worldwide fell apart. So it's because they loved the power that they had and they weren't willing to let that go. I'm just wondering if there's anybody out there who had a crisis conscious
Right.
and
Yeah.
Any of the leaders.
Yes, I wonder that too.
yeah,
Really do. Yeah, I think
I
there.
don't remember very many people from Worldwide. I remember I had a friend, her name was Grace, but I don't remember her last name. I remember, oh, here's a funny story that my family likes to tell to this day. So my parents had to go to a funeral for somebody when I was a kid. I don't remember who it was. I think it was a family member, like a kind of a distant family member. So, they dropped my sister and I off at a church family's house, the Whites. And um, before taking us there, my mom told my sister and I that when their kids are bad, they make the kid go out to the backyard and pick a willow switch off of the tree for their parents to beat them with. So when my parents came to pick us up, I told them that we were so good that we didn't even get switched. And this was a cute story that I was so terrified of being beaten by these practically strangers that I was just so good. I didn't step a toe out of line, Ma. You'd be so proud.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad used to have my brother go out and get a switch off the tree, and that's what he was told to do that by the Worldwide Church of God, and that's what my brother did. He went out and got a switch. My dad took the leaves, stripped it off, and then would get us with the switch. Unbelievable! I can't even believe that went on. That's craziness.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I used to think that spanking was a good form of discipline. Um, but I wish that I had never done that with my kids because I have found that gentle parenting is far more effective. A lot of people, I hear a lot of people say these days that, oh, well, the reason that kids are so disrespectful is because we're not allowed to beat them anymore. They're not allowed to get spanked anymore. And I just don't think that's true. Even yelling, I really try not to yell at my kids anymore because they just tune it out. They are like, well, I don't want to be screamed at, so I'm just gonna check out mentally. I'm not gonna listen to this. And I did that too. Um, and I found that actually talking to them and using appropriate discipline, like taking away privileges when they break the rules, is way more effective. They're not afraid of me. They respect me. They hug me all the time and tell me how much they love me.
That's pretty
So
good. You must be
Yeah,
doing a whole
that's
lot
good.
right. That's
Yeah.
I
all you're
get I
after.
get compliments all the yeah, I get compliments all the time whenever I take them places of how good they're behaved.
Wow.
Wow.
That's awesome.
That's really great.
Really, really awesome. Well, Sheila, this has been wonderful. I hope we could do it again sometime when you got another
Yes.
topic you want to go over, because you'll come up with them. I bet you $1,000,000. Lot to talk about. So,
So
but
are
you
you
did
married
great.
now, Sheila?
Oh
Or
yeah,
you,
she is. She's
she's
got 4
married?
boys. I forgot.
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yes, I got remarried. Well, I divorced my first husband. Our divorce was finalized on the day that I graduated from nursing school.
oh wow.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, but I got remarried the year after that to the man that I was dating. I didn't leave my ex for him, but like our marriage had been falling apart for years. It just we weren't meant for each other. Um, we just have different values, but more like that's a topic for another time.
Yeah. Well, we've really enjoyed this, Sheila. Man, we really
Me too.
thank you. And I think you're going to help a lot of people. I think this interview will help a lot of people see that you can, come out of a cult, you can reground, you can land with your feet on the ground. It takes a little bit to sort things out and to figure things out again, but you can do it and you can get an education. If you want, you can get a trade, which you mentioned. Trades are really you can get a job usually right away. And so that is
You could
really
be a good
cool.
mom and have great kids
Yeah,
and
yeah,
do it differently than our parents did.
yeah,
It just you've burned you've shown people that everything that we were raised like you can overcome.
yeah.
That
Like
you've already shown that.
if I saw Sheila on the street and saw her kids well behaved and loving her and adoring her, I would be like, wow, that lady knows what she's doing something
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So
I'm
that's
so glad you proved that doctor wrong too, man. I'll tell you what, I would be going to that doctor's office saying, "Here's my 4 kids, and I am a nurse, and I've been a nurse for 5 years now." It's like you were wrong, mister.
yep.
Yeah, I thought about sending him a letter.
Yeah, I
I
bet.
might do that still.
Yeah, because
Um,
that's like the major thing that you would never want to do to someone ever. To say something like that. It just is
right.
sick. I just can't believe that people have that kind of balls to say things like that
Yeah.
to other
Yeah.
people.
I mean, I looked him up. He's still a pediatrician in
Oh,
Michigan.
wow.
He has his
Wow.
own practice because he was working at his dad's practice when he told me all that. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, the last thing I will say is that I didn't do it completely on my own because I had help through EMDR therapy. It's
Oh, yeah. Like,
specifically for trauma therapy.
uh-huh.
Um,
Yeah.
if you do seek EMDR therapy, make sure that your therapist is actually certified and not just took a quick online course because any licensed therapist can get certified in EMDR. But I was fortunate enough to stumble upon one who had actually put in the hours to get the education, the certification, keep up with the latest research and everything else. And he saved my life, honestly.
What does it stand for again?
Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Yes. I knew another lady that was a ex-worldwider that did that too. Yeah. Interesting.
Yes.
That would be
Wow.
great because I had to take something called DSF that helps your hypothalamus to shut off and go back to normal because I was on constant state of, on
Fight or flight.
fight or flight all the time.
Yeah.
And you'll die from that. So I got help from that for a while, but yeah, thank God for all the help. Yeah, good to mention that. All right. Well,
All
thank
right.
you.
Sheila,
Sheila,
excellent,
yes,
excellent
excellent
interview.
interview.
You were a joy,
Yeah.
really a joy, and inspiring.
Thank you.
Inspiring. We were inspired.
Thanks for
So
doing this
thank
with
you.
us.
And we look forward to the next one, and we look forward to talking anytime you want to talk or give us a call,
Yep.
or you want to do another show, you got something great you want to share or whatever. Looking forward to it. Okay.
Yeah, me too.
Sounds good.
Thank
Have
you.
yourselves a good night.
All right. You too.
Thank your kids for us.
Thank
Bye-bye.
I will. Bye.